Calls on government to bring perpetrators of the Maikadra massacre to the ICC. And Niger said to face worst food crisis in a decade. Hello and many thanks for joining us. You're watching Addis News Hour with the news. I'm Tabitha John. Do stay with us. The Ministry of Finance has announced a decision that allows importers of basic food items such as oil, wheat, sugar, baby milk formula and rice to directly import the foodstuffs through the Customs Commission without waiting for foreign exchange permits. In a statement, the ministry said that the decision came at a time when Ethiopians in diaspora with foreign residency permits are calling on the government to expedite Franco-Vallata's licenses so that they can contribute their part in addressing current inflation. The ministry announced that importers are allowed to use Franco-Vallata's privileges while bringing in the basic foodstuffs listed in the statement. It is to be recalled that last year in April, Ethiopia had already allowed individuals with $250,000 to use Franco-Vallata to import basic food items such as edible oil, wheat, rice, milk and flour by verifying the source of the foreign currency with the National Bank. Legal experts urge the government to take the Maikadra massacre case to the floor of the International Criminal Court so that perpetrators are brought to justice. Dozens of mass graves have been uncovered in the Walqait Tagade and Talemt areas, speaking volumes of genocide committed against ethnic Amhara and Walqait Ethiopians by TPLF. A latest research by the Gondar University revealed that over 60,000 ethnic Amharas and Walqaites were murdered by the TPLF during the past 40 years in the Walqait Tagade and Talemt areas, including Maikadra. Jerusalem Betza has the details.
In November 2020, a journalist, historian and author Jeff Pierce was in Maikadra to find out the real background behind the Maikadra massacre and how the Amhara and Walqait were viciously targeted for ethnic cleansing.
This is Maikadra, to be exact, and in this community, at least 1,564 people were slaughtered. 81 people survived. The number of the casualties is still increasing.
የአማራ ህዝብ ነው ያለበት ግንብ ሰፈር ማለት ነው። ከዛ ላይ መጀመሪያ ጥቃት ነው የፈጸሙ። አሰፈር ስደርስ ማጥቃት አድርገው በመሳሪያ ሽፋን አንዳንድ ወደ ውጊያ ያለ ርዝራዥ ልዩ ኃይላቸውና ምንሻቸው ወይም ፖሊሳቸው ሽፋን እየሰጠ ህዝቡን መደብደብ ሰላማዊውን ሰው ከቤት እየጎተቱ እያወጡ በገጀራ በጩቤ በፈራር የሚባል አለ ፋስ የሚባል በዛ ህዝቡን ያው እየጨፈጨፉ
ደግሞ ማራስ ነኝ ባካችሁ ተወኝ አልኳቸው። ከዛም በኋላ ትንሽ ልጅ 11 አመት ልጅ አለ ልጅ ሊመቱብኝ ሲሉ ኧረ ባካችሁ የነፍስኝ እንግደሉኝና ልጅ እንግደሉት ልጅ ሳይንስ አገሉ ልጅ እንዳገሉብኝ አልኳቸው። በዛን ሰዓት እንደዛ ስላቸው ባለቤት ወረደ ከላይ ስለነበረ ልጅ ሞተብኝ ብሎ ወረደ። ልጅማ አልመቱትም እኔ ወድቄበት ነበረ። ከዛ ለኔ ነው እዚህ ላይ መቱኝ። ከዛ ልጅ እና እኔ ወጣና ባለቤት ሞተ።
When the news of the Maikadra massacre first broke last November, the Amnesty International put the blame on the TPLF, although it had to scroll down its story to find it. Nearly weeks later, it changed its tune and told the Associated Press that Amhara forces have Tigrayans for ethnic cleansing. However, victims know who was responsible, in fact calling the individual perpetrators by name.
አንዱ አጋዚን ይባላል። ሌሎቹ መስሪያ ቤት ይሰራሉ፣ መዘጋጃ የሚሰሩ ናቸው። ስማቸውን አላቃቸውም ግን በይታ አቃቸዋለሁ። እንደገና ደግሞ አንድ ደግሞ ሽፈራው የሚባል ነው ጥይት ሲተኩስ የነበረ። አንዱ ደግሞ ሁለት ስም ነው ያለው። አንዱ በሪውን ይባላል። እንደገና ደግሞ በሪውን ወረደ ማለት ነው። ደግሞ ሌላም ስም አለው ደግሞ ሁለት ነው ስሙ የልጁ።
There are 300 people from the Maikadra massacre buried in this graveyard, 50 to 60 people in one spot alone. Their stories are still waiting to be told in full.
The Ethiopian Human Rights Commission has confirmed that dozens of mass graves have been located in Maikadra massacre.
They have personally visited the crime scene, a mass grave scene. So we've been able to get a detailed accounts of what has transpired in Maikadra directly from the victims and their families.
And what they have told us is that the local militia, the local administration militia, and the youth group, which are mainly from the Tigray community, were targeting the Amhara residents.
Meanwhile, legal experts urged the government to bring perpetrators of the Maikadra massacre to the International Criminal Court.
The Maikadra massacre by the TPLF deserves the attention and possible investigation by the ICC. I call upon the Ethiopian government to bring the perpetrators of this horrific crime to the ICC so that perpetrators are held accountable at the global level.
The finding from the research established that the years between 1983 and 1990 were times during which individuals with ethnic Amhara identity were killed and thrown in the Takaze River.
State Minister for Foreign Affairs Redwan Hussein received at his office on Friday Kim Wan-jung, Deputy Foreign Minister of the Republic of Korea. Redwan appreciated the long-standing relationship between the two countries, recalling Ethiopia's contribution of troops to the Korean War under the auspices of the United Nations. Redwan called on South Korea to further cement ties with Ethiopia by encouraging investors to explore investment opportunities in Ethiopia and extending support to Ethiopia's efforts in building democracy and reducing poverty. Kim Wan-jung reaffirmed his country's commitment to closely working with Ethiopia on economic, cultural, and societal issues. The Deputy Foreign Minister of South Korea further pledged to support Ethiopia in various areas, including agriculture, health, and capacity building, noting the importance of strengthening relationships that consider their keen interest to scale up relations and the historic people-to-people ties. Cuban ambassador to Ethiopia, Jorge Lefebvre Nicolas, says sanctions imposed on a sovereign state by the superpowers are a matter of great suffering to Ethiopians. He said diplomatic efforts should be given priority to remedy the situation before rushing to extreme and unhelpful measures like sanctions. Binyam Alemayo presents the story filed by the Ethiopian news agency.
In an exclusive interview with the Ethiopian news agency, Ambassador Nicolas said he resents the fact that superpowers are inflicting untold suffering on the Ethiopian people by imposing unfair sanctions. Ethiopia has been saying time and again that the two bills threaten the progress of the peace initiative that the government has been taking to end the conflict and restore stability. Although the stovepiped bills say that they aim to improve the lives of the people, the reality is that they are meant to undermine and cripple the Horn of African nation.
When a superpower imposes sanctions on others, they say normally that the sanction is to get to improve the people's life. So to punish the government to improve the people's lives. But what they are doing is to punish the people, to sanction the people, to make the heart of the people harder. I mean, this is not the way to get the political objective. I mean, punishing the majority of the population, condemning a country to hunger, this is not the way you can achieve political goals. We think all the countries have their own problems, but all the countries have their own way to solve their problems. And they should have support for the others. I mean, how to deal with their own problems, how to solve their situations, how to get on. But if you apply sanctions, you are condemning the people. So you are killing the hope of those people to have a better life. So this is not the way. I mean, sanctions is like a genocide.
The ambassador said some Western nations are only boasting of democracy while depriving this very concept to other nations, especially those like Ethiopia. The unwise approach, masterminded by bribe-taking U.S. senators, is aimed at advancing U.S. and TPLF interests at the expense of Ethiopia and Ethiopians.
If you prohibit or you stop the access of a country to the international financial institutions, so how will they solve their problem? How will the economy will have a grow if they don't have access to products, to assistance? And that is very tough for the people. I mean, the sanctions, when they try to punish a government, they are punishing the whole population of the country. Millions of people are victims of those sanctions. No matter the difference, there is always a way to deal with. You have to sit face to face and discuss the differences. Even in the differences, you can find a common ground to cooperate with the countries. And you can do that. So this is not, applying sanctions, killing people, this is not the way. This is not the way that you get your objective in a country. You have to establish, to build the way for a relationship, to establish a dialogue, to establish negotiation, to discuss the differences, and always you can find room to solve the differences.
Over and above harming the people of Ethiopia in particular, and the strategic Horn of Africa region in general, the punitive bills undermine Ethiopia's re-engagement initiatives. He urged Western nations to give priority to resolving differences via diplomacy and work for the maintenance of public peace.
Ethiopians and Eritreans and friends living in the U.S. are to hold peaceful demonstrations in Washington, D.C. and Los Angeles, protesting the draconian draft bills H.R. 6600 and S3199. Peace and Unity for Ethiopia Washington Task Force Coordinator Taso Melaka Hiwat said demonstrators will chant slogans saying the H.R. 6600 and S3199 draft bills hurt Ethiopian-American relations, sanctions kill, and H.R. 6600 and S3199 must be revoked. Taso called upon the diaspora community to strengthen its efforts in briefing senators and congresspeople in their respective constituencies about the negative consequences of the draft bills and preventing their approval. He said efforts are underway to consult with congresspeople and senators in order to ensure that the laws are not approved. The Ministry of Health said it has been expediting delivery of medicines and medical supplies to Tigray State and other parts of the country affected by conflict, drought, and natural disasters via both road and air transport. In a press briefing here today, State Minister for Health, Deraje Duguma, said that large numbers of people are suffering from man-made and natural disasters in several parts of the country. The State Minister further pointed out that the government has been prioritizing Ethiopians in shelters to protect them from epidemics and other health problems. Deraje said that there are over 1 million IDPs in the Amhara state, while 130,000 people have so far received basic medical services. Out of total IDPs in the Afar state, 63,000 are receiving humanitarian assistance. Listen to him.
Currently, there are more than 294,000 IDPs in the Afar state, adding that preventive work is being carried out to protect them from epidemics that might occur. Medical and nutritional services are also being delivered to affected communities in the Amhara state through 53 mobile centers.
The state minister said 120,000 IDPs in the state of Afar have been vaccinated against smallpox and cholera. Also, pregnant women and infants under 5 are being provided with medical and nutritional services with the help of 30 mobile clinics. Medical and nutritional services are being delivered to affected communities to the Tigray region too, the minister said. Listen to this again.
Similar problems are affecting people in need in the Tigray state. Necessary supplies are being distributed in the state in partnership with the World Health Organization and other international relief agencies. Malaria and tuberculosis medicines are being delivered to the region via air transport.
The Ethiopian Broadcasting Corporation and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs have signed a memorandum of understanding to work collaboratively. The agreement aims to promote public diplomacy initiatives spearheaded by the ministry. It is also expected to ensure Ethiopia's national interests at the global level. Alula Teklamariam brings us up to speed.
Envisaging Ethiopia's successful diplomatic engagements across the world, the two giant institutions have signed a memorandum of understanding. A pioneer in Ethiopia's electronic media, the Ethiopian Broadcasting Corporation and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs seem to take the biggest share in promoting their country's national interest in the diplomatic and political arena.
This agreement will help update the society on how our diplomatic effort is bearing fruits at the international level. It will promote the ministry's daily activities to the people.
The state minister stated why picked EBC to be their strong ally in this endeavor, recalling its experience in a diversified nature.
While picking EBC out of a crowd of media institutes, we rely on its rich experience in reporting diplomacy. Also, ABC's diversity has helped it win our attention. The Pioneer TV station is accessible in diverse ways.
Chief Executive Officer of the Ethiopian Broadcasting Corporation, Fisai Tagasu, underscored that ABC's transformative initiative has gone in tandem with the nationwide reform, aiming at credible flow of information.
EBC is also reforming its structure in a way that best suits the audience. We are trying to equip it with state-of-the-art technology and well-trained human power as well. Efforts are underway to expand our services in the diplomatic arena. We will soon come up with a new channel, ABC International, targeting foreign languages speakers and expand Ethiopia's diplomatic frontiers to newer territories.
The latest agreement between the two institutions is expected to scale up the country's diplomacy at the global level.
Ethiopia's ambassador to France, Spain, Portugal, Holy See and Monaco discussed with aspiring diplomats in Paris Institute of Political Studies, Sciences Po, on Ethiopia's historical and present role as catalyst of Pan-Africanism, current situations in the country and related topics. Ambassador Henok Tefera briefed the aspiring diplomats on latest developments in Ethiopia, including the process of the construction of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam GERD. The discussion platform has been organized by Junior Diplomat Initiative France. In business, economists disclosed that the hoarding and stockpiling of goods and the unreasonable increase in prices of goods are the major causes of inflation. The Ministry of Trade and Regional Integration, for its part, announced that strict measures are being taken on illegal traders, while it has been stepping up controls against unreasonable increase of prices. Shagao Yamatao has the following account.
Although the international trade situation and the imbalance between demand and supply are the causes for the existing inflation in the market system, illegal traders are said to have exacerbated the soaring prices, according to economists. An economist, Dereje Dejene, said the hoarding and unreasonable prices of goods by illegal traders are the major causes for inflation, besides the Russo-Ukrainian war.
ከዛ በኋላ ሚድልሜን ወኒ መሃል ላይ
there should be integration between the merchants and consumers. We have to arrest inflation by controlling the machinations of greedy merchants who keep boarding goods and pushing prices up. We also need to check some corrupt practices in the market by legal means.
The agricultural economist Demis Chanyalo on his part said the government's proper intervention in the market is pivotal to curb the effects of inflation, in addition to improving productive capacity.
It's not only a simple solution by increasing productivity in production that will overcome the problem of inflation. Because increasing productivity in production is a long-term, thinking. But how to have the existing produced goods and services at a reasonable price. So what is the solution for that? It's not a question of increasing the supply simply by production, but by doing proper intervention in the marketing system.
Getnet Ashenafi, a legal expert with the Trade Ministry, talked of measures being taken by the government to remedy the situation.
We're investigating the exorbitant prices on cement production and packed dairy products. We'll be disclosing our findings soon. We'll also take strict measures on merchants engaged in pushing prices up.
And now take a look at the latest foreign exchange rates.